I tell them it's my spiritual nature. That's why I love Yahuwah this way. Come on, y'all sing it. Without my heart and my mind. Come on. Tell them it's my soul is anchor. That's why I love Yahuwah this way. Now bring it inside voices. I said, why? I tell them it's my spiritual nature. That's why I love Yahuwah this way. Soul is anchored. That's why I love Yahuwah this way. Somebody wake up. Somebody wake up Israel. Somebody wake up Israel. Somebody wake up Israel. And face these. Bring up your voices. I tell them it's my spiritual nature. That's why I love Yahuwah this way. Come on, y'all. Never without my heart and my mind. Soul is anchor, that's why I love Yahuwah this way. On three, holla out, ooh, Yahuwah. On three, 1, 2, 3. Holla, ooh, Yahuwah. Shalom alaikum. Yahuwah. I want to say shalom to you all, mashbaka, and welcome to each and every one of you that is joining us today. We're going to kick off our fellowship by going to a key Yahunathan and with Tahali 6. Like we're struggling a little bit here to get going, so let me try something else. Wow, this is not good.
You are the branch, you are the bridegroom, you are the teacher, you are our healer, you are worthy to be praised. There is none like you, none like you. There is none like you, none like you. Yahuwah, you reign.
before we continue with music, Mashbaka, I'd like to share with you. A reading from Tehillim chapter 30 today, Psalms chapter 30, and it reads, "I exalt you, O Yahuwah, for you have drawn me up, and have not let my enemies rejoice over me. Yahuwah, my Elohim, I have cried to you, and you have healed me. Yahuwah, you brought me up from the grave. You have kept me alive from going down into the pit. Sing praise to Yahuwah, you kind ones of his, and give thanks at the remembrance of his set apartness. For his displeasure is for a moment, his delight is for life. Weeping might last for the night, but joy comes in the morning. As for me, I have said in my ease, never would I be shaken. Yahuwah, in your good pleasure, you have made my mountain to stand strong. You hid your face, and I was troubled. I cried out to you." I want to read verse 7 again because it's an important verse. I don't want us to just glaze over it. "Yahuwah, in your good pleasure, you have made my mountain to stand strong. You hid your face, and I was troubled." I'm going to read that one more time. "Yahuwah, in your good pleasure, you have made my mountain to stand strong." In your good pleasure, you have made my mountain to stand strong. I'll come back to that a little bit later, but I want us to really reflect on verse 7, Tehillim chapter 30. "Yahuwah, in your good pleasure, you have made my mountain to stand strong. You hid your face, and I was troubled." Verse 8, "I cried to you, O Yahuwah, and to Yahuwah I prayed. What gain is there in my blood? When I go down to the pit, would dust praise you? Would it declare your truth? Hear, O Yahuwah, and show me favor. Yahuwah, be my helper. You have turned my mourning into dancing for me. You have torn off my sackcloth and girded me with gladness, so that esteem might praise you and not be silent. O Yahuwah, my Elohim, I thank you forever." Halallahu Yahuwah, Tuda Yahuwah, Tuda Rabbah Yahuwah, Halallahu Yah. I'm gonna go on. I'm gonna play another song here. We're gonna get ready to get started with our study today. And as we get into our study also and prayer, I want to talk a little bit about Tehillim chapter 30 and verse 7. "In your good pleasure, you have made my mountain to stand strong."
Torah, Torah, Amet. Torah, Torah, Amet. Tudaya.
This is a Single production.
Now I can sit here and pray about things I really don't need. And I can sit here and complain about things that hold no meaning. stretch my hands to you, to give you the glory. Only to you I wanna say thank you for being there for me. Wanna say thank you for never giving up on me. When I was going through the storm, you were there. I don't wanna say too many words, but thank you. Yeah, I just wanna take my time. I ain't in no rush. I wanna give you the kabod. I'm calling on you. When I was going through, I had no one to call. You answered. I wanna say thank you. Not too many words, but thank you. Wanna say thank you. I don't wanna worry about me right now. 'Cause when I was going through the storm, you remember me. Yes, you did. Not too much to say. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Just want to say thank you to the Rabbi Yahuwah. And in the same vein, as I don't mind saying thanks to Yahuwah, I also don't mind praising him. So join me today, family, as we give him praise. Hallelujah.
I don't mind praising you. It's never too hard for me to lift my voice and sing about your faithfulness and all the joy you bring. Maker of heaven, maker of earth, maker of the Sabbath, Heal me when I'm think on what is lovely, think on what is pure. Meditate on everything that you have done and more. Think on what is lovely, think on what is pure. Meditate on everything that you have done and more. My heart will sing your praise, Yahuwah. I don't mind praising you. No, I don't mind. I don't mind praising you. No, I don't mind. I don't mind praising you. No, I don't mind. I don't mind praising you. Praising you.
Now, I've got to admit that it's not always easy to praise him, and it's not always easy to thank him. And so for the person who's in that place today, who for you it might be hard to praise him, and it might be even hard to thank him, I'm going to encourage you to seek him. And so I'm going to play this other song here, Mashpaka, and then we're going to get started. We're going to pray, and we're going to open up today. Looking forward to an awesome fellowship. May Yahuwah barak his word today. May he barak our lab, our hearts, as we seek him today. Hallelujah.
Searching to find the truth in my life, waiting
Praises to Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Well, we'll give Yahuwah praise, honor, and esteem today. I want to say shalom to each and every one of you, Mashpakai. It is indeed a baraka to be here with you, and we give Yahuwah praise because he is great and certainly greatly to be praised. Hallelujah. We ask for his favor upon this fellowship today. We ask for his favor to his people wherever they are scattered and in whatever situation or condition they might find themselves in this morning. Abba Yahuwah, as we come and we turn our faces toward your set-apart place today, we ask for your shalom, we ask for your restoration, we ask for your encouragement. Abba Yahuwah, we ask that you would lift up your people. We ask that you would give us strength to go through our go-throughs, whatever it is. Abba Yahuwah, because we know that there are seasons in life, and those seasons are ordained by you. Yahuwah, you know what is best for us, even when we might think that we know what's best and we know what we need best. Yahuwah, you know best. And so help us, I pray today, Abba Yahuwah, to accept your will for our lives and accept the seasons in our lives. We pray that you would continue to strengthen us. We pray, Yahuwah, that you would continue to increase us. We pray, Yahuwah, that you would continue to guide us. We pray that you would lift up our hearts and our minds. We pray, Father, that you would continue to cleanse us, that you would continue to purge us, purify us. Make our hearts clean, Yahuwah. Give us a desire for you. Cause us to hunger and thirst after set-apartness, Yahuwah. Because certainly the filth smells good to our carnal nostrils. But I pray, Yahuwah, that you would cause us to see evil and wickedness for what it is. And help us, Yahuwah, not to draw nigh to evil, not to draw near to evil, but to draw near to you. You know the needs of your people, Abba, even right now. You know those who are in distress. You know those who are in need emotionally, in need spiritually, in need financially, in need physically. You know the needs of your people. And I pray, Yahuwah, that you would move today on behalf of your people, Yashar'al. I pray, Father, that you would touch the heart of your people, that you would cause us to cry out to you, cause us to draw near to you, cause us to love you, Yahuwah. You said, Yahuwah, that you would restore us, that you would come back, and that you would restore us, that you would restore us, that you would lift us up once again, Yahuwah, not for our sake, but for your name's sake. Yahuwah, you said that we have done wrong to your name. We have done evil to your name. And yes, we have. And so we ask that you would forgive us, Father, where we have brought blemish to your name, where we have dragged your name in the dirt. Abba Yahuwah, where we have not represented you well, we pray that you would forgive us. We pray that you would be merciful to us, Yahuwah, and help us to walk, to turn away, to repent, and to walk upright before you and clean before you and set apart before you. Touch your people today. We praise you for answered prayers. We praise you, Yahuwah, for the prayers that have been sent out on behalf of your people and for the answers that have come. We praise you for deliverance that you have brought. Oh, Yahuwah, we praise you for provision that you have made. We praise you for shalom that you have given. We praise you for restoration that have been realized. And so, Father, today we barak your great name. We say, Tuda Yahuwah, because you are good. You're not just good, Yahuwah, but you are great. And so, Father, we ask today that you would barak this time, barak this fellowship, barak your debar as it goes forth, barak the hearing and the hearts of your people. I pray even now that I would decrease, Yahuwah, and that you would increase. Let your word go forth with power, authority, and clarity. I pray, Yahuwah, that your word would touch the heart of those seeking. You tell us to seek and we will find, knock and the door will be open to us. There are many doors set before us and there is much confusion, but I pray that you would lead us to the right door. There are many wolves dressed in sheep's clothing, misleading your people and confusing your people, but help us to find your truth. Do this, we pray, in your great name. Aman. Halalhu Yahuwah. Praise and esteem to Yahuwah. I want to say shalom to you all today, Mashbaka. It is wonderful to see each and every one of you. May Yahuwah truly continue to barak you and to strengthen you as you continue to seek his face and to seek his truth. It is my hope. It is my hope today that you will find true shalom in Yahuwah, and that and that your heart will be satisfied in him. Halallahu Yahuwah. Well, with that, and before I go any further, by the way, today we're going to the book of Zakaryahu, chapter 7. And it brings us to chapter 7 in the book of Zakaryahu, brings us to a subject that we have spent many days and hours and years studying and discussing. And it's also a subject that have created rift among the people of Yahuwah. There is much confusion concerning this matter. But today the word of Yahuwah will once again speak, and those who have ears to hear will hear. And in particular, chapter 7. So the last time we were together, we looked at chapter 5 and chapter 6. And we talk about judgment beginning in the house of Yahuwah. We talked about judgment beginning in the house of Yahuwah. And what was being stated there. Now today Yahuwah takes us, as we go to chapter 7, Yahuwah now gives us some more insight, or explain to us why we go through what we go through in judgment. So the title of and how we go through in judgment. And so the title of our study today is, and it's taken directly from the book of Zakaryahu, chapter 7. But the title today is, Should I Fast? Should I fast? Should I feast? Should I fast? Should I feast? And so that's what we'll look at today. Again, I'll say that there continue to be much confusion on that subject concerning the feast in captivity, Yahuwah's feast in captivity. And that goes right to the heart of the anti-deliverer movement, the anti-Mashiach movement, and where people have erected their own golden calves. We live in an age, we live in a time where people are erecting their own golden calf. In other words, people are erecting their own deliverers. They are creating their own deliverers and their own deliverance. But there is only one true deliverer, and there's only one true deliverance, and that comes through Yahuwah, and that is Yahuwah. And so today we're going to go back to the book of Zakaryahu. But family, I'm going to go back a moment here before we get to the book of Zakaryahu. I'm going to go back for a moment, and I'm also going to open up the mic for a few minutes. But I'm going to go back to the book of Zakaryahu here, and not Zakaryahu. I'm going to go back to the book of Tahalim here very quickly, which is where I the text that I read from a little bit earlier. The book of Tahalim, chapter 30, because there is a beautiful verse here. There are many beautiful verses in the text, but there's one in particular that sometimes we just need to be reminded of, right? We need to be reminded of the works of Yahuwah. We need to be reminded of the way that Yahuwah works. And sometimes, and many times, we get frustrated because we forget how Yahuwah works, and we forget who's in control. Sometimes we just want to take the wheel, and it's not up to us to take the wheel, you see. So in verse 7 it says, Yahuwah, in your good pleasure you have made my mountain to stand strong. In your good pleasure you have made my mountain to stand strong. And I'll ask you today, Mashpaka, how many of you is standing in front of a mountain? You see, how many of you is facing a mountain, and that mountain seem immovable? That mountain is standing strong. And we begin to place blame as to why the mountain is there, right? We begin to place blame as to why the mountain is there. We begin to get frustrated as to, and we ask, why do I have to face this mountain? Why do I have to climb this mountain? Why can't this mountain just get out my way? But the important thing for us to note, and the important thing for us to remember is this: if there's a mountain in your way and you're a child of Yahuwah, the mountain was placed there out of Yahuwah's good pleasure. You see, the mountain that stands in your way, it's not there to destroy you. You see, but it's there for your good, because Yahuwah says in his good pleasure, he has caused your mountain to stand strong. So if you see a formidable foe, a formidable mountain in your way, something that it seems as if it's going to destroy you, know that you will not be destroyed. You see, but it's there for your good. In your good pleasure, you have caused my mountain to stand strong. You see, what is it that keeps you from attaining your dream, your goal, the thing that you want so bad? That thing that seemed like it keeps you from attaining that goal or that dream might be the very thing, and is the very thing, that is actually preserving your life and your sanity and your sanctity. You see, because if we should, as children, if we should get everything that we want, and if Yahuwah should give us all that we want, then we would be nothing more than spoiled brats. You see, we would destroy ourselves, because we would have no limit, and we would know no limit. And so Yahuwah, being the good Abba, the good Father that he is, there are times when he has to put mountains in our ways. It might be that you might feel like you should have been owned something, right? You should have been owned your home 20 years ago, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, or 5 years ago. It might be that you believe that you should be you should have a career like so and so have, and it should have happened for you some 15, 20 years ago. And if somebody didn't do this or if somebody didn't do that, then I would have had this thing. But you got to realize sometimes that Yahuwah allows somebody to do this or that to preserve you. You see, because had you been left to yourself and your own devices and your own planning, the end could be far worse than what it is you are faced with right now. And so in his good pleasure, Yahuwah causes a mountain to stand strong in our lives. And when he causes that mountain to stand strong, it will feel to us as if he has hid his face. It will feel as if he no longer cares about me. It will feel as if he is not concerned with me. It will feel as if he doesn't even exist. And so he says here, you hid your face and I was troubled. Now in our trouble, we got to remember to cry out to him. Because verse 8 says, I cried out to you, O Yahuwah, and to Yahuwah I prayed. And in my crying I said, what gain is there in my blood when I go down to the pit? Would dust praise you? Can the dust praise you? Can the dead praise you? Would it declare your truth? Hear, O Yahuwah, and show me favor. Yahuwah be my helper. And he certainly is our helper. So, just a reminder to you today, Mashpaka, and this also have a lot to do with our study for today. But just as a reminder to you that when a mountain stands in your way, don't be so quick to blame everything and to see it negatively. Yahuwah will cause a mountain to stand strong before you in order to bring about the best for you. Yes, indeed. He will fight you for you, as my wife just said. So we give Yahuwah praise, honor, and esteem today, and we look forward to his dabar. I'm going to open up the mic here for a moment. Certainly like to hear from my Mashpaka. Praises to Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuwah. Before I open up the microphone, let me, pardon my bad manners here, let me just greet my Mashpaka family. It is really, really great to see each and every one of you today. I know you haven't been seeing or hearing much from me at all, and it's just one of them times, one of those seasons, one of those days, but it's all right. I want to say shalom to Akut Adelaide. Great to see you, Akut. Also want to say shalom to our Mashpaka joining us via telephone from 757-897. I want to say shalom to you. Also to my Akut Yisraela, to you and to your Ayash, to your husband. I want to say shalom to you, Akut. I also want to say shalom to my Aki Damon. It is great to see you, not just to you, Aki, but also to the young one. I want to say shalom. I send the favor of Yahuwah Halahu Yahuwah greet you with the favor of Yahuwah and the shalom of Yahuwah. I want to say also shalom to Akut Waikida, or Wakida Rahman. Great to see you, Akut. And also want to say shalom to my Aki, Waraya Matatyahu. It is great to see you also, my Aki. And to Akut Teleshi, I say shalom. To my Akut Shari and Yahakub, servants of Yahuwah, greetings to you in the name of Yahuwah. And we rejoice with you today for the favor of Yahuwah in your life, on your life, and on all of your lives. Halahu Yahuwah. I want to say also shalom to Nothing is Impossible 7-7. Greetings, Mashpaka. Also want to say shalom to Akut Mahalia. Great to see you, Akut, as always. And to Akut Lena, I want to say shalom to you, my Akut. To my Akut Lanesha Yah, I say shalom to you, Akut. We send our love to you and to the baby. Shalom. Also to Akut Gina, greetings to you, Akut. Wonderful to see you as always. And to my Aki Adi Al, greetings to you, my Aki. And also to Akut G, I say shalom. Love you all, family. Great to see you. Praise Yahuwah for the opportunity to fellowship with you today. To the family listening on Facebook, watching on Facebook, I want to say shalom to you today. I'm not logged into Facebook Live, but if you're listening, you're joining us via Facebook Live, we want to greet you today in Yahuwah's great name. And also want to greet the family joining us via YouTube Live. I say shalom to you today, Mashpaka. Let's see who's joining us here. Not everybody's name is represented, but I want to say shalom to my Aki Dani Al Hushayahu Yashar. Great to see you, Aki. And also want to say shalom to my Akut Amunayahu. Praise Yahuwah. Praises to Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Great to see you, my Akut. Also want to say shalom to Akut Leah Yisrael. Shalom to you, Akut. And to my Aki Matyahu. Shalom to you, Aki. To my Aki Urban Street. It is great to see you, Aki. And also want to say shalom to my Akut Anitra. It is wonderful to see you, family. Akut G is also represented there. And to the family who are joining us there on YouTube, whose names aren't represented on the screen, I do also greet you in the name of Yahuwah. I want to say shalom to you and to your Bayat. May Yahuwah shalom reign over your Bayat. Yes, and my Asha want me to greet everyone on her behalf also. And so from our Bayat to yours, we say shalom. Hallelujah. Praise Yahuwah. Oh, Akut Yisrael. Yes, I saw that. I saw that on Facebook. Akut Yisrael is now a grandparent. They're now grandparents. A beautiful little young man, right? I did see that. Congratulations to you, Akut. All right. Okay. Praise Yahuwah. Well, certainly wonderful to be here. All right. I want to open up the mic. If you're on Fuse, you can join us. Via microphone. So if there's anyone on Fuse that would like to come to the mic and just to, if you want to give Yahuwah esteem, say shalom to the family, whatever, before we begin our study, please, by all means, I encourage you to do so. I want to say shalom also to Akut Yaraya. Akut Yaraya, no, Akut Yaraya is joining us via YouTube. She is, you won't see her name on there. She is watching from her television. Want to say shalom to Akut Yaraya also over there in Arizona. Akut, we love you, appreciate you, and may Yahuwah continue to barak you. All right. So, all right. Let me open up the microphone also to anyone in the room that might want to just come to the mic to say shalom to the mashpaka, greet, esteem Yahuwah. Want to certainly make sure that we present that opportunity. It's always great to hear the voice of the mashpaka. So I'm going to leave the microphone here. I'm looking and waiting and watching if any hands go up. If not, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and we'll dive into our study for today. Our study today is coming from the book of Zakaryahu chapter 7. And yes, shalom, Aki.
Shalom. I just want to say, our face on the board, and I'm want to second that. I want to second what the Kokim said. He will fight us for us.
Indeed.
Right on. Praise the Lord.
Hallelujah. Praise Yahuwah. Indeed, Aki. Great to hear you and to hear the robustness there in the background. I know you got your hands full. Greetings to you, Aki. Great to hear you today. All right. Yes, indeed. Yahuwah fights us for us. He's that good, right? All right. Yes. So if anyone else would like to come to the mic, please feel free to do so, family. But again, too, I'd say that we are our study today is coming from the book of Zakaryahu chapter 7, and the title of our study is "Should I Fast? Should I Feast?" And that is within the context of captivity, because the book of Zakaryahu is about a couple of things, right? The book of Zakaryahu is about our chastisement, right? So Yahuwah promises that he would chastise Yashar'al. He also promises that he would chastise those who chastise Yashar'al, right? And then he promises that he would restore Yashar'al. So when we get to the end of the book, we're going to see our restoration, but it also gives us the means of our restoration. The book of Zakaryahu also tells us how we will be restored. You see, and one of the reasons why we're in the book of Zakaryahu is because we were faced with the question of Mashiach. Is there Mashiach or no Mashiach? And so we went to the book of Zakaryahu, where we even see Mashiach named by name, right? Now we know that Mashiach is no other than Yahuwah himself, and by the time we get to the end of the book of Zakaryahu, it's going to make that absolutely, it already make it clear, but it's going to make it even more plain for us by the time we get to the end of the book. It's going to show us that Mashiach is no other than Yahuwah himself. So we believe in Mashiach. That's not to say that we believe in some other deity, some other mighty one, you see. But we know, according to his word, that Yahuwah promised that he would be the lamb slain to redeem his people. We know, according to his word, that Yahuwah came to give up himself for us, that we may be redeemed. Now, our redemption comes in two stages. There is the spiritual stage of our redemption. You see, that is where the price is paid for our transgression against his Torah, against his instruction, against his Dabar. The price is paid. The price that's required for that redemption, according to the scriptures, is blood. The price required for our spiritual redemption, according to Torah, is blood. You see, that's the price that is required according to Torah. The price required for our spiritual redemption is blood. Okay? That's what it says in the book of Uyakara, Leviticus, chapter 17, and in other places. It says that, and even Shaul, who is often misunderstood and misrepresented by people today, and misrepresented by the Christians who stole his words and twist them, and misrepresented by a whole bunch of people. But even Shaul echoes what it says in Torah. Without the shedding of blood, there can be no redemption for your transgressions. Without the shedding of blood, there can be no redemption for your transgression. That's very important. That's a very important statement. That is what the scriptures tell us. Without the shedding of blood, there can be no redemption for your transgression. Now, I said that our redemption comes in two phases or two stages. So go back for a second to the days in Matzrayim. While our people was in Matzrayim, we see the same thing. We saw that the people were redeemed out of bondage. The people were redeemed out of Matzrayim, which is what Matzrayim means. The people were redeemed out of slavery. But how did their redemption come? The redemption of the people of Yasharal while they were in Matzrayim came in two stages or in two phases. First, there was the spiritual redemption, which was brought through blood. And so Yahuwah gave the instruction that they were to take a lamb, the lamb that pointed to Yahuwah being our lamb, right? As it says for us in the book of Katsun, the lamb that was slain. So they were instructed to get a lamb because Yahuwah being our Passover lamb. And so what they were doing was actually, it was a foreshadow of what Yahuwah would be to us. And so they were instructed to get a lamb, they were to slaughter it, and they were to put the blood over their doorpost. And for anybody who did not do that, and for anybody who did not have the blood of the lamb over their doorpost, then they would be destroyed in that night when Yahuwah Zabaoth, when judgment, the messenger of death, passes through. Right? And so if you did not have the blood over your doorpost, you would be destroyed. And so the people of Mitzrayim, many of them were destroyed, but not all of them were destroyed. Many of them were destroyed. And also, for the people of Yasharal, they were preserved. Why? Because they were covered under the blood. They had the blood over their doorpost, right? And so they were redeemed through the blood of the Lamb, right? They were redeemed through the blood of the Lamb. Now that was their spiritual redemption. That was their spiritual redemption. That was their spiritual redemption. But then there had to be a second part to it. Not just did they need to be redeemed spiritually, but they also needed to be redeemed physically, just as we are today, and just as we do today. And so after the blood was shed, and it was put over the doorpost, and the messenger of death passed over them, then after that, Yahuwah gave the instruction for them to pack their stuff, and it was time for them to leave their land of bondage. And that is the second part of their redemption, which is the physical redemption. That is where they're taken out of their lands of bondage. They've been redeemed spiritually. Now they're going to be redeemed physically. And so they're going to be taken out of the land of bondage, and they're going to be taken into the land of promise. And so it is for us. So Yahuwah came. He shed his blood to redeem us spiritually. But we still await our physical redemption. We still await our physical redemption. So blood was shed to redeem us spiritually. But now we await the physical redemption. We await the exodus, the journey into the land of promise. All right, so our redemption comes in two phases, and that's very important for us to note. All right, so the book of Zakaryahu lays that out for us. It lays out the fact that we need spiritual redemption. It tells us who would redeem us spiritually. Tells us that it would be Yahuwah in his attribute, Yahusha, that would redeem us spiritually. And then as we get to the end of the book, it's going to show us how he will redeem us physically, how he will take us out of our land of bondage. He will reestablish our land, and he will rule and reign with us in the land. It tells us that by the time we get to the end of the book. But for right now, we're in the middle of the book. Right now, we're in the middle of the book. You see, and so what he told us so far, he told us that judgment would come. He told us that redemption would come. He told us who our Redeemer would be. But now he's going to explain to us what happens in the midst of our judgment. What happens in the midst of our captivity. And so that is where we are now in chapter 7 of the book of Zakaryahu. It is my hope, family, that as we go through the study, that your eyes are open to things that perhaps you had missed before. That will make things more clear for you, because much confusion continue to exist among our people. There are many confused people, and as a result of the confusion, many people just simply want to give up. There's a whole lot of people that are kind of like sick and tired of being sick and tired, because there's a whole lot of people out there saying all kinds of stuff, and it is just creating a whole lot of confusion for our people. And so it is my hope, it is my prayer that as we continue to study this text, as we continue to study these scriptures, that your eyes, Yahuwah will continue to open up our eyes to his truth, and that as our eyes become more and more open to his truth, that confusion will dissipate, and we will be more committed to Yahuwah and his truth, Yahuwah and his word. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to open up the book. I'm going to go to the book of Zakaryahu, which is where we have been. We have been going line upon line, right? Pretext upon pretext. Here a little, there a little, rightly applying the word of truth. We've been going through the book. We started in chapter 1. Now we're going to chapter 7. All right, so let me just get it up here for you. Book of Zakaryahu, chapter 7. By the way, I give Yahuwah praise, honor, and esteem. I've received quite a bit of feedback from our family, people of Yasharal, some people that I've not met before. Family, people of Yahuwah telling me that, you know, they're thankful for this study and they had never seen the book from this perspective, the truths that has been revealed so far. And so we give Yahuwah praise, honor, and esteem for him opening our eyes to his truth, because it is he that does it, right? Okay, Mashbaka. So, and again, if you have not been a part of our studies so far, I want to encourage you to go back and to watch some of the lessons that's already on YouTube. And it's important also to have knowledge of the last lesson that we did from chapter 5 and chapter 6, because they tie right into today's study. And so it is important, you know, having knowledge and hearing that study will actually help to tie, you know, having knowledge of chapter 5 and chapter 6 will help to tie chapter 7 together contextually for you. Okay, so here we go in chapter 7. And in the 4th year of King Yahush is what his name was. That's who they called Darius. It came to be that the word of Yahuwah came to Zakaryahu on the 4th of the 9th month. Okay, the month Kislev. Now Beath-al had sent Sharatzar with Ragamalak and his men to pray before Yahuwah. Okay, so Beath-al had sent Sharatzar with Ragamalak and his men to pray before Yahuwah. This is in the ninth month Kislev. Okay, so this is, oh, by the way, let me just ask this question of the Mashbaka. So what appointed time would this be? What appointed time falls in the 9th month, in the 9th moon? Oh, not showing on Zoom screen? I'm sorry, family. Let me fix that. Bear with me just for a second. Let me fix that. We're talking about appointed times here today. All right. What appointed time fell or falls in the 9th month or 9th moon? What appointed time falls in the 9th month? Anyone recall? All right. Let me just check YouTube real quick. I don't want to ask the question and not give a chance for people to respond. All right. So it would be the Day of Atonement. Okay. It would be the Day of Atonement. All right. So this is what's happening now. Okay. Let's go back. It's important for us to keep these things in mind, to know these things as we study, right? And in the 4th year of King Yahush, it came to be that the word of Yahuwah came to Zakaryahu on the 4th of the 9th month, Kislev. Now Bayafal had sent Sharatzar with Ragam Malak and his men to pray before Yahuwah. Okay? So, he had sent them to pray before Yahuwah. Alright? Bayafal. Okay? Bayafal is a place in Yasharal. Okay? Where one of the set apart places of Yahuwah was, and it would seem that, I'm not so sure, but it's either somebody bearing the name Bayafal or the congregation of Bayafal sent these representatives to pray before Yahuwah. Okay? Now, speaking to the priest who belonged to the house of Yahuwah Zabaoth, Yahuwah of hosts, and to the prophets, saying, should I weep in the 5th month and fast, as I have done for so many years? Okay? So they went and they wanted to know, should I weep in the 5th month and fast, as I have done for so many years? Okay? Now, it's also interesting that it brings up the 5th month here, because there is a couple possibilities. Either translation was wrong when it said the 5th month, or the writing, whoever wrote it, erred when they put the 5th month, or they're looking at it from 2 different perspectives. Now they're in captivity, and what it might be, the 9th month of Yasharal may actually have fallen in the 5th month of Babylon. You see what I'm saying? Just like it is today. We go by the Babylonian calendar, right? We go by the Roman calendar, the Roman Gregorian calendar, Babylonian calendar, that is not the same. It does not line up with Yahuwah's calendar. So the 9th month of Yasharal won't be the 9th month on the Gregorian calendar, right? And so that might be the case here. So it could be that they were writing from the perspective of captivity, because they're in captivity. Okay, that is the context here now. They're in captivity. And so they're in captivity, and they sent representatives to go and to pray and to ask some questions concerning their service to Yahuwah in captivity. That's actually what's happening here. Okay? So they went to seek some answers from Yahuwah, and to speak to the priest who belonged to the house of Yahuwah of hosts, and to the prophet, saying, should I weep in the 5th month and fast, as I have done for so many years? So again, it's really not in the 5th month that the people would weep and fast. It would be in the 9th month. But maybe why the 5th month is used here is because they're speaking from the perspective of Babylon, right? So the 9th month of Yasharal perhaps fell in the 5th month of Babylon on the Babylonian calendar. So maybe that's what was happening. I'm not too sure. I'm just figuring, because other than that, it doesn't really add up. You see, because Yasharal didn't weep and fast in the 5th month on the calendar of Yasharal. They would weep and fast in the 9th and 10th month. Okay, on the calendar of Yasharal. So, that might be why you see the 5th month there. That's the point that I'm trying to bring out, and it should be also easy for us to understand. The 7th month is actually atonement. I'm sorry, 7th month is atonement. The 9th month, though, and what is the 9th month again? What is the 9th month? The 9th month is also, what is the 9th month? The 9th month, Kislev. is also a time of fasting. What was that for? No, okay. The ninth month is actually not atonement. The ninth month is for what is the name of it again? The ninth month is for, name ain't coming to me right now. Let me think about it for a second. The ninth month. It is a time of fasting. I'm trying to remember what exactly it's for. The seventh month is correct. The seventh month is no. I'm getting them mixed up. No, Akut. The seventh month, if I recall correctly, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, the seventh month is tabernacles, right? Sukkot. The seventh month is tabernacles or Sukkot, right? The ninth month, ninth and 10th months are related to fasting and atonement, right? The ninth month would be atonement. So I think if I remember correctly, I haven't gone over the timeline in a while, but if I recall correctly, that's what it would be. Okay, so the ninth month would be a time of fasting, right? And I'm trying to remember 10th day of, okay, yes, that's right. The 10th day of the 7th month is atonement. That's absolutely correct. Don't remember what the ninth month is, but it is a time of fasting, and I got to go back to that. It's been a while, so I forget now. It's not coming back to me. But it is a time of fasting. What it is exactly, I'm not remembering, but you're absolutely correct, Akut. Yeah, it's been a while since I've gone over it, so that's not coming back to me. Thank you for the correction, nonetheless. I'll have to revisit that. Yes, Tuda. I'll have to revisit that and see exactly what it is again. It is a time of fasting, but exactly what the name of it I don't recall, because I'm getting them mixed up with now. I'm getting the ninth month and the 7th month mixed up. So thanks for the correction there. Okay. Nonetheless, this is a time of fasting, right? And as they have done for many years, right? Then the word of Yahuwah of hosts came to me, saying, speak to all the people of the land and to the priests, saying, when you fasted. Now this is key. So they went to seek advice from the priest and to hear from Yahuwah concerning their fasting, right? Concerning their set apart times to Yahuwah, okay, and the things that they have done unto Yahuwah. And as a matter of fact, if I'm thinking about it now, I think it's coming back to me as I continue here. What had happened? So let me go back to a little give a little detail, and you'll find this in the book of in the writings of the Talmud also, which is not something we use, but you can get some historical references from it, and you can get some understanding as to how Yasharal got to where they got to. The Talmud, so the Talmud, a lot of times you hear people say that the Talmud is Jewish, that the Jews totally came up with it. It was totally made up by the Jews. But the truth is that the Talmud, it's not the Jews who first started the Talmud. It was people of Yasharal who started the Talmud. But what the Jews did, the Jews came along and they took the Talmud, they loved the Talmud, and they added to the Talmud. Okay? But the Talmud, basically what the Talmud did was, and the creators of the Talmud, what they did was they took truths from Yahuwah's word, and then they created their own truth, their own Torah, their own laws, and so on, their own interpretations, and so on. But it was people of Yasharal, men of Yasharal, who started the Talmud. And so as they began this practice, they began to institute their own times and laws and celebrations, right? That's actually what they did. They created their own set apart times and so on. Okay, and so now it's kind of coming back to me here, and that would explain why you find the fifth month, them doing things in the fifth month and in the ninth month, and that's also why you would see them refer to the month of Kislev, okay, because Yahuwah never named the months, he numbered the months, but in captivity they did a lot of things different from what Yahuwah had put in place, and so they began to name the months, okay, and begin to put a lot of different things in place that Yahuwah never instructed, and so that's really what's happening here. I had to kind of, it's been a while since I've gone over that information, but as I speak now, it's kind of coming back to me. So they went, speaking to the priest who belonged to the house of Yahuwah of hosts, and to the prophet, saying, should I weep in the fifth month and fast, as I have done for so many years? Then the word of Yahuwah of hosts came to me, saying, speak to all the people of the land, and to the priest, saying, when you fasted and lamented in the fifth and seventh months, all these 70 years, did you truly fast for me? For me? So Yahuwah is quite enraged with them. And so he asked them the question, when you fasted and lamented in the fifth and seventh months, all these 70 years, did you truly fast for me? Did you fast for me? That is the question that Yahuwah has for them, right? So what does the 70 years reference? What is the 70 years in reference to? Let me ask the Mashpaka. I like the interaction. And so what the 70 years, what is that in reference to? So they lamented and they fasted for 70 years. And he also mentioned the seventh month. Now the seventh month, you also have a time of fasting in the seventh month, but you also have a time of feasting, as Akut Yariyah just reminded us, right? That's when the feast of Sukkot is, the Feast of Tabernacles, right? And so they were doing this for 70 years. But it's interesting that Yahuwah mentions this 70 years. What does the 70 years tell us? 70 years. Why 70 years? Why does Yahuwah mention 70 years? This is important to the study, of course, right? So he asked them, when you fasted and you lamented in the fifth and in the seventh month for 70 years, did you fast for me? Did you fast for me? Akut Amunayahu correctly stated the captivity. Absolutely, the captivity. So the 70 years is in reference to the Babylonian captivity. The 70 years is in reference to the Babylonian captivity. So what that tells us is that while they were in this captivity for 70 years, they were fasting and lamenting, right? And they were keeping appointed times. They began to make up even their own appointed times. For example, the month Kislev that we saw, right? The 9th month. They begin to make up their own appointed times. The 5th month, they made up their own appointed times. And even in the 7th month that Yahuwah instructed, Yahuwah still asked them, did you fast for me? Did you lament for me? Is the question that Yahuwah asked, right? Did you fast for me? Were you lamenting for me? Were you doing it for me? Is the question that he asked, right? Okay, so let's go back. So he says, speak to all the people of the land. This is verse 5. And to the priest, saying, when you fasted and lamented in the 5th and 7th months, all these 70 years, did you truly fast for me? For me? And when you ate, okay, so when you fasted, did you fast for me? No. Now he's going to deal with the feast. And when you ate and when you drank, was it not for those eating and for those drinking? So when you ate and when you drank, when you feasted, was it not just merely a party for the participants? Okay? So when you fasted and lamented, did you fast for me? Yahuwah says. And when you feasted, did you feast for me? Now there is a reason why Yahuwah is asking this question. Okay? There's a reason why Yahuwah is asking this question. Now remember, they're in captivity. And while they were in captivity, they were fasting and they were feasting in the name of Yahuwah. But Yahuwah asked the question, was this for me? Why would Yahuwah ask that question? Well, simple. Because Yahuwah had already instructed his people that not to do these things in any other place than in the place that he had instructed them. So he asked, when you fasted and lamented in the 5th and the 7th month, all these 70 years, did you truly fast for me? And then he asked in verse 6, and when you ate and when you drank, was it not for those eating and for those drinking? In other words, weren't you simply coming together just to have a feel-good party, to make yourself feel good and to make yourself feel set apart? But do you really think that that was for me? How can it be for me when you're going against my instructions? Okay, we're going to walk away for a second from chapter 7 here in the book of Zakaryahu. We're going to go over to a familiar text. We're going to go over to the book of Dabarim here very quickly. There are many scriptures we can go to when it comes to this subject, but let's go over to the book of Dabarim. We're going to go over to the book of Dabarim. First, we're going to go to chapter 12, and then we're going to go to chapter 16. And there are many scriptures, as I say, went to Zakaryahu, but I need to go to Dabarim, Deuteronomy chapter 12. So let's go to Deuteronomy, Dabarim chapter 12 first, and then we'll go to chapter 16. Or maybe we should go to chapter 16 and then go to chapter 12. Let's go to Deuteronomy here very quickly. So go to chapter 16 and then we'll go to chapter 12. Again, so the reason why Yahuwah is asking them this question is because they were in violation of his Torah. You see, you have a lot of people today running around and they have their slogans. They have slogans about obedience, you know. They like to talk about obedience. And when they talk about obedience, they're talking about it in this perspective, telling you that, oh, you need to be keeping the feast of Yahuwah, you need to be keeping the Shabbat of Yahuwah, and you need to be keeping this and you need to be keeping that. If you're not doing it, you're being disobedient. You see? So they're talking about obedience, but in reality, they're being disobedient. Because they're trying to do precisely what Yahuwah tells them not to do. You see? Some people wrongfully think that obedience means that you always do the appointed times of Yahuwah no matter where you are, and that is obedience. Obedience simply means doing, is the perception that some people have. Some people have the perception that to obey means to do. But to obey does not only mean to do. To be obedient also means to not do. And that's what some people don't understand. When they hear obedience, they automatically think that it is associated with only doing. When the reality is that obedience is also associated with not doing. So if you have a child, for example, if you have a child living in your house and you're about to leave the house, they're old enough to be home by themselves. You're about to leave the house and you tell them, okay, I'm running to the store. I'll be gone for about an hour. I do not want you opening that door and going outside while I'm gone. I do not want you to open that door and to go outside while I am gone. I do not want you to open the door and go outside while I'm gone. Do not. Now, I said I do not want you to. Well, what if the child opens the door and go outside? He's doing, right? He's doing. But is he being obedient? No, he's being disobedient because he is doing what he was told not to do. Right? And for our people think that obedience means to always do. When there are times when Yahuwah says not to do, do not do. And when you do, when he says not to do, then you are being disobedient. You're being disobedient, you see. Blatantly disobedient you're being. Okay? So obedience is not always associated with doing, you see. I see people say that all the time. Obedience means to do. No. There are times when obedience is not to do. Do not do. Abstain. Yahuwah says don't eat pork. So simply because I'm not eating pork, does that mean that I'm disobedient? Because obedient means to do, right? No. I'm going to abstain from it. I'm not going to do it. That makes me obedient. Right? There are certain things that Yahuwah says is unclean. Don't partake of them. I don't partake of them. That makes me obedient. Some people understand that part of it when it comes to eating, the unclean and the clean. But then when it comes to the feast, there's a disconnect. Somehow, it doesn't apply when Yahuwah says don't do. Don't. You can't keep the Passover in any other place other than in the place that I have appointed. You can't keep the appointed times in any other place other than in the place that I have appointed. Oh no, I have to keep them all the time, they say. But that's not according to the scriptures. Okay? So Yahuwah says, when they went to inquire of Yahuwah and of the servants of Yahuwah, okay, they're in captivity. And for many years now, for 70 years, they have been fasting and they have been feasting for 70 years. And after 70 years, it finally dawned on them, you know what? Let us go seek Yahuwah to see what is his thoughts on this. Now, better late than never. Better late than never. It took them 70 years, but praise Yahuwah, somebody got the sense enough to say, you know what, let us ask. Before we continue to incriminate ourselves, let us go and inquire of Yahuwah and of his servants. Okay? Let us go inquire of Yahuwah and of his servants. And so it took them 70 years to inquire, but finally they did. And when they showed up and when they inquired, Yahuwah said, he asked them a rhetorical question. When you lamented and when you fasted, when you ate and when you drank, was this for me? Was it for me? You could tell that Yahuwah was outraged with them. Was this for me? And he repeated, for me? You see, he was outraged with them. And he was outraged because it was right there before you all this time. It was in my word. But you're so busy doing that you spend no time reading. It's like buying a piece of furniture from the store or an appliance and you got to put it together. But knowing us, we figure, who needs the instructions? I don't need the instructions. I see enough picture here that tell me that this is how it should look. And so you know what? I'm going to put it together. You see, you go about and doing your own thing, and before you know it, your chair look like that commercial on the TV where one leg is pointing northwest and the other ones are pointing southeast. And you can't even sit on the chair without falling out of it. You see, we don't take the time to read the instruction. You see. So, taking you now to why Yahuwah asked them this question. Do you really think you was doing this for me? Oh yes, Yahuwah. We were doing it in your name. Every time we come together, we give esteem to the name of Yahuwah. We praised you. We danced and we had a good time praising you. Yahuwah said, do you really think that was for me? Okay, so the question is, why was Yahuwah so outraged? And why was he asking them this question? Remember, they were in captivity and they were doing this for 70 years. And Yahuwah was not pleased with it. Yahuwah simply was not pleased with it at all. Okay, so watch this now. Beginning in verse 1 of chapter 16 of the book of Devarim. And this is where people get confused right off the bat. Okay, guard the month of Abib and perform the Passover to Yahuwah your Elohim. For in the month of Abib, Yahuwah your Elohim brought you out of Mitzrayim by night. The problem is, a whole lot of people kind of get stuck right there. Guard the month of Abib and perform the Passover to Yahuwah your Elohim. For in the month of Abib, Yahuwah your Elohim brought you out of Mitzrayim by night. Okay? They get stuck right there. Guard the month of Abib. I don't care what happened. I'm supposed to guard the month of Abib. But do you know that guarding the month of Abib also includes not profaning the command concerning the month of Abib? Because when Yahuwah says, okay, don't do the month of Abib in certain places, and you don't do it, you're actually guarding it. But when you do it, when he tells you not to do it in certain places, you are not guarding it. You're tearing it down. You see, you're creating confusion around it. Now you're making it unrecognizable. You're making it unset apart. You see. So he said, guard the month of Abib and perform the Passover to Yahuwah your Elohim. For in the month of Abib, Yahuwah your Elohim brought you out of Mitzrayim by night. And you shall slaughter the Passover to Yahuwah your Elohim from the flock and the herd in the place where Yahuwah chooses to put his name. The question is, does Yahuwah choose to put his name everywhere and anywhere? No. The answer to that is no. The name of Yahuwah is set apart. And set apart things go in set apart places. Set apart things go in set apart places. If you have something that's set apart and there is no set apart place for that set apart thing, the moment you begin to just put that set apart thing in any old place, it's no longer set apart. You see, because set apart things need set apart places. Okay? It becomes just like everything else. It becomes mixed up with everything else. Set apart things need set apart places. Okay? So he says in verse 2, and you shall slaughter the Passover to Yahuwah your Elohim from the flock and from the herd in the place where Yahuwah chooses to put his name. We can ask another question. How many places, according to the scriptures, did Yahuwah choose to put his name? Did Yahuwah choose the whole world to put his name on the whole world? According to the scriptures? No. Yahuwah didn't say, here is the city of Michigan. I've chosen to put my name here in the city of Michigan. Yahuwah didn't say I've chosen to put my name in the Bahamas. Yahuwah didn't say I've chosen to put my name in Pretoria, South Africa. Yahuwah didn't say I've chosen to put my name in Australia. Yahuwah didn't say I've chosen to put my name in some place in the desert of Nevada. No. Yahuwah didn't say that. Yahuwah chose 3 places in the scriptures to put his name. 3 places. And 1 place mainly. 1 place namely. 2 of them are secondary places. But there's 1 place. 1 main place that was chosen. And that is Jerusalem. You see. No, secondary places. He chose Bayat Al for the people who live too far away from Jerusalem. Because your journey could not be no more than a Sabbath day journey, a Shabbat day journey, right? For the weekly Shabbat. Okay? And then he chose Shiloh. Okay? And so those are the three places that he chose. But the main place is Jerusalem, right? He chose no other place. Okay, so that's important to note. And that's why he was so upset with them, because here it is, they're in Babylon. And they're going to different places in Babylon, doing things, set apart things, in places where Yahuwah never set apart and chose for his name. So Yahuwah says, and you shall slaughter the Passover to Yahuwah your Elohim from the flock and from the herd in the place where Yahuwah chooses to put his name. He said, giving instructions now concerning the Passover, eat no leavened bread with it. For 7 days you eat unleavened bread with it, bread of affliction, because you came out of the land of Mitzrayim in haste, so that you remember the day in which you came out of the land of Mitzrayim all the days of your life. Okay? Now this little phrase down here also messed people up, taking stuff out of context, because it says all the days of your life. Then, so they say, well, Yahuwah tell us to do it all the days of your life. And that means you got to do it all the days of your life. No matter where you are, you must do this all the days of your life. But that's not what that said. That's not what that said. He said, do it in the set apart place, so that you may remember it all the days of your life. He didn't say do it all the days of your life. He said do it in the set apart place, so that you may remember it all the days of your life. So when the time comes that you can't do it in the set apart place, will you forget it? No, you won't. But instead you will long to get back to the set apart place where you can do it. You see. He goes on to say, verse 4, and no leaven should be seen with you in all your border for 7 days, neither should any of the meat which you slaughter in the evening on the first day stay all night until morning. Okay? You are not allowed to slaughter the Passover within any of your gates, which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you. Now, this is another point. This is another point. Verse 5, that people even overlook, because Yahuwah was so specific that he said that not even while you were in the land were you allowed to slaughter the Passover at your house. You had to take it to the place that I've chosen for my name to dwell. Not even while you're living in the land. Now here it is, you're not even living in the land and you're just doing it in any old place. And whereas, while even Yahuwah says, you are not allowed to slaughter the Passover within any of your gates which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you. And what he's talking about is when you're in the land and the land is divided up between you. You can't just say, okay, here is Dan, here is Banyaman, here is Yehuda, here is this, here is that, and we're just going to stay right here and do this. No. All of us need to go to that one place that he has chosen when that appointed time comes. You see. Yahuwah goes on to say, and I think it says it in this passage, he says 3 times in a year you would go to this place for the slaughterings, for the feast. So there aren't 7 feasts. There's only 3. The rest are appointed times, right? Now, but at the place where Yahuwah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell, there you slaughter the Passover in the evening at the going, so there it is, but at the place where Yahuwah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell, there you slaughter the Passover in the evening at the going down of the sun at the appointed time you came out of Mitzrayim. And you shall roast and eat it in the place, you see, this is something that you will continue to see, in the place. You see, that's why Yahuwah was so upset with them when they came inquiring. And they say, did you think you were doing this to me and for me? That's why he was so upset, because here it is, he's made it so clear. He spent so much time repeating himself in the place. In the place. Watch how many times he says it in this text. Okay? So he says, you are not allowed to slaughter the Passover within any of your gates which Yahuwah your Elohim gives you, but at the place where Yahuwah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell, there you slaughter the Passover in the evening at the going down of the sun at the appointed time you came out of Mitzrayim. And you shall not roast and eat it in the place which Yahuwah your Elohim chooses, and in the morning you shall turn and go to your tents. So after you've done it, then in the morning you go back to your house. That tells you can't even, while you're in the land, you still can't even do it in your house, right? Verse 7, and you shall roast and eat it in the place. You shall roast and eat it in the place which Yahuwah your Elohim chooses. And in the morning you shall turn and go to your tents, right? 6 days you eat unleavened bread. And on the 7th day there is a closing festival to Yahuwah your Elohim. You do no work. Count 7 weeks for yourself. Begin to count 7 weeks from the time you begin to put the sickle to the grain. And you shall perform the feast of weeks to Yahuwah your Elohim according to the voluntary offering from your hand, which you give as Yahuwah Elohim Baruch you. And you shall rejoice before Yahuwah your Elohim, and you and your son and your daughter and your male servant and your female servant, and Louis, who is within your gates, and the stranger, and the fatherless, and the widow, who is within your gate, and who are in your midst, at the place where Yahuwah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell. And you shall remember that you were a slave in Mitzrayim, and you shall guard and do these laws. Remember, you were a slave in Mitzrayim. Yahuwah says now, remember you were a slave in Mitzrayim. What should that say to us? Remember, when you were a slave, you couldn't do none of this. So now appreciate it, lest you find yourself a slave again. You see, remember you were a slave in Mitzrayim. You see, and you shall remember that you were a slave in Mitzrayim, and you shall guard and do these laws. So when do you guard and do them? When you're not a slave. Remember you are a slave, and you don't want to become a slave again, so you better guard and do them while you are free. Because when you're a slave, you can't do them, because you're locked up. You're not free, you see. You see. Now, he says, perform the Feast of Booths, the Feast of Sukkot, the Feast of Tabernacles, for 7 days after the ingathering from your threshing floor and from your winepress. And you shall rejoice in your feast, you and your son and your daughter and your male servant and your female servant and Louis and the stranger and the fatherless and the stranger. So to those who said the stranger who has joined themselves to Yasharal can't participate, they're not reading the scriptures. They're making up their own stuff. They're building on what the Talmud. That's their own Torah, their own laws, their own fallacy. You shall rejoice in your feast, you and your son and your daughter and your male servant and your female servant, and Louis and the stranger and the fatherless and the widow who are within your gates. For 7 days you shall observe a feast to Yahuwah your Elohim in the place which Yahuwah chooses, because Yahuwah your Elohim does baruch you in all your increase and in all the work of your hands, and you shall be only rejoicing. You don't only rejoice in captivity. Captivity is grievous. You're always under some kind of burden in captivity. Watch this now. 3 times a year, all your males appear before Yahuwah your Elohim in the place which he chooses. 3 times a year. At the Feast of Unleavened Bread, and at the Feast of Weeks, and at the Feast of Booths, because there are only 3 feasts that Yahuwah has. And none should appear before Yahuwah empty-handed at that time, but each one with the gift of his hand, according to the barakah of Yahuwah your Elohim, which he has given you. Okay, I'm going to stop there for now, and I'm going to jump over to chapter 12 of Dabarim. Okay, just trying to show why Yahuwah was so upset with them when they came talking about some feast that they had done for 70 years. Fasting and feasting that they had done for 70 years. Number one, they made up their own feast times. They made up their own fast times. And they weren't doing what Yahuwah told them to do. And when they called themselves doing what Yahuwah told them to do, they weren't doing it in the place that Yahuwah told them to do it, because they were unable to do it in the place nonetheless anyhow, because they were captives. Yahuwah had driven them out of the land. So Yahuwah was quite angry at them, and he said, do you think you are doing this to me or for me? No, you're kidding yourself. is what Yahuwah said to them. And many today are just simply kidding themselves. Okay? They talk a good one. They sound good saying what they're saying, but they're only fooling themselves. You see. Now, chapter 12 of Dabarim. These are the Torah and right rulings which you guard to do in the land which Yahuwah, Elohim of your fathers, is giving you to possess all the days that you live on the soil. All the days that you live on the soil in that land, you guard these rulings. All the days, because when you're not on that soil, it will be impossible for you to guard them. Okay? Completely destroy all the places where the nations which you are disposing serve their mighty ones, on the high mountains, on the hills, and under every green tree. Completely destroy their high places. This is in the land. He didn't tell you to do that in America or in any other place. But in your land, in the land, while you're in the land, that's what you're supposed to do. Okay? In the land that I'm giving you. And you shall break down their altars and smash their pillars and burn their asherim with fire. And you shall cut down the carved images of their mighty ones and shall destroy their name out of that place. Do not do so to Yahuwah your Elohim. But seek the place, listen to this. Do not do so to Yahuwah your Elohim, but seek the place which Yahuwah your Elohim chooses out of all your tribes to put his name there for his dwelling place. And there you shall enter. And there you shall take your burnt offerings and your tithes and the contribution. So that for them people in church who talk about they're taking their tithes to the altar. What altar? What tithe? You're taking it to a strange mighty one. And the money ain't no tithe according to the scriptures, so you're fooling yourself. So when you give that pimp, who they call a pastor, when you give that pimp your money, and then, you know, a little something happened in your life, and you run around testifying, talking about how blessed you are, nothing special happened for you because of that that money you gave that pimp. You've been duped and bamboozled. You've been brainwashed. You see. You've been brainwashed. You see. So he says, and there you shall take your burnt offerings and your want to say shalom to my Akut Sharia. Great to see you, Akut. And there you shall take your burnt offerings and your tithes and the contributions of your hand and your vowed offerings and your voluntary offerings and the firstlings of your herd and of your flock. And there you shall eat before Yahuwah your Elohim and shall rejoice in all that you put your hand to, you and your households in which Yahuwah your Elohim has baruch you. Do not do as we are doing here today, each one doing whatever is right in his own eyes. We have a lot of that going on. Everybody doing whatever is right in their own eyes. Do not do as you're doing here today, Yahuwah says. You see? Oh, I'm going to keep the Passover over here. I'm going to keep this feast over there. And you know, and a whole bunch of people all over the place. Yahuwah didn't ordain that. Yahuwah didn't instruct that. You see? Oh, I'm set apart because of this. Oh, I'm set apart because of that. Oh, I'm set apart because of the other. No, you ain't set apart. There's only one way you can be set apart, and that is through Yahuwah and his sacrifice, Yahuwah HaMashiach. You see. Do not do as we are doing here today, each one doing whatever is right in his own eyes, because you have not yet entered the rest and the inheritance which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. Do not do as you're doing here today, because you have not yet entered the rest and the inheritance which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you. That's why he was so angry at them in chapter 7. Because everybody was doing what was right in their own eyes. And so he said to them, all those 70 years, who were you offering all that up to? You think it was to me? You think your fasting was to me? Your your atonement, and your feast. You think that was being done to me and for me, or for me? Nah. So he says, verse 10, but you shall pass over the Jordan. Let me give you the roadmap to get to the place that I've chosen. But you shall pass over the Jordan, and shall dwell in the land which Yahuwah your Elohim is giving you to inherit. And he shall give you rest from all your enemies round about, and you shall dwell in it safely. And you shall dwell in safety. I may ask any of those people out there who call themselves keeping the feast and calling themselves being made set apart without Yahuwah being our deliverer, Mashiach. Have you yet crossed over the Jordan? What is the way that you took to your feast? Did you have to cross over the Jordan? Because if you have not crossed over the Jordan, then you're celebrating falsehood. You see? The way to the feast is through the Jordan. You got to go through the river. You got to go over the Jordan. You see? And it shall be that unto the place which Yahuwah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell there, there you are to bring all that I command you. Your burnt offerings, all that I command you. There you are to bring all that I command you. All of my appointed time, all of my feast times and so on. It's only there that it will be recognized. And it shall be that unto the place which Yahuwah your Elohim chooses to make his name dwell there, there you are to bring all that I command you. Your burnt offerings and your tithes, and the contribution of your hand, and all your choice offerings which you vow to Yahuwah. Okay? And you shall rejoice before Yahuwah your Elohim, and your sons and your daughters, and your male servants and your female servants, and Louis, who is within your gates, since he has no portion nor inheritance with you. Guard yourself, that you do not offer your burnt offerings in every place that you see. Guard yourself, that you do not offer your burnt offerings in every place that you see, except in the place which Yahuwah chooses in one of your tribes. There you are to offer your burnt offerings, and there you are to do all that I command you. Again, the reason why we're looking at this is because, again, we're in the book of Zakaryahu, chapter 7, and Yahuwah, after 70 years, they decided to consult Yahuwah concerning their fasting and their feasting. After 70 years, it dawned on them that, you know what, maybe we should ask him if we're doing it right. We've been doing it this way for 70 years, but maybe we should ask, is this the way to do it, Yahuwah? Okay? And so that's what got us here. Going back over here to Zakaryahu, chapter 7. Okay? He said, so, in verse 2 it says, now Be'at-al had sent Sharatzar and Ragamalak and his men to pray before Yahuwah, speaking to the priest who belonged to the house of Yahuwah Zabaoth, Yahuwah of hosts, and to the prophet, saying, should I weep in the 5th month and fast as I have done for so many years? Then the word of Yahuwah of hosts came to me, saying, speak to all the people of the land and to the priest, saying, speak to all the people who belong to the land, is what that is saying. When you fasted and lamented in the 5th and 7th months, and this is the 5th month is because they've begun to make up their own set apart times, and all these 70 years, did you truly fast for me? For me? Really? You think you fasted for me all these 70 years? You were wasting your time, is what Yahuwah says. And when you ate, when you feasted and you drank, when you kept your Passover, and when you kept your Feast of Tabernacles, your Feast of Booths, and when you kept your Feast of Shabbatot, You see, did you really feast for me? For me? Right? So he says, and when, verse 6, and when you ate and when you drank, was it not for those eating and for those drinking? Wasn't it not for yourself and for your own idols? You didn't do it for me. You were just having a big party, getting drunk, acting stupid. You wasn't doing it for me. You wasted your time. You really wasted your time. None of it was for me. It was not recognized by me, is what Yahuwah is saying to them. Are these not the words which Yahuwah proclaimed through the former prophets when Jerusalem and the cities around it were inhabited and in safety, and the south and the low country were inhabited? And the word of Yahuwah came to Zakaryahu, saying, Thus said Yahuwah Zabaoth, execute true right ruling, show kindness and compassion everyone to his brother. Do not oppress the widow or the fatherless, the stranger or the poor, and do not plot evil in your hearts against one another. But they refused to listen, and they shrugged their shoulders and stopped their ears from hearing. And they made their hearts like flint against the hearing of the Torah, and the words which Yahuwah of hosts had sent by his Spirit through the former prophets. Therefore great wrath came from Yahuwah of hosts. And it came to be, as he called, and they did not hear, so let them call, but I shall not hear, said Yahuwah of hosts. So let them call, but I shall not hear, says Yahuwah of hosts. Now I'm going to take you to another scripture, because some people might believe that, okay, so I'm not in the place, but you know what? They have this Christian doctrinology. I just made up that one doctrinology. I'm not in the place, but that don't really matter a whole lot. Yahuwah sees the heart. Yahuwah looks at the heart. Yahuwah knows that what I'm really trying to do is to please him, so he's going to ignore his word concerning the place, and he's going to accept me. I'm too cute to resist. You see? My feasting and my fasting is too cute and too admirable for him to resist. Even though it goes against his instructions, it's no way he can resist it, and he's going to love me for trying. That's what some people believe. Okay? But is that so? Is that so? See here what Yahuwah says? But they refused to listen, and they shrugged their shoulders and stopped their ears from hearing. Stopped their ears from hearing. And they made their hearts like flint against the hearing of the Torah, and the words which Yahuwah of hosts had sent by his Spirit through the former prophets. Therefore great wrath came from Yahuwah of hosts. So when you stop your ear from hearing the Torah of Yahuwah, what does Yahuwah do to those who stop their ear from hearing him? What is his response? Let's go to the book of Amos real quick. Amos chapter 5. What they call Amos. Again, I'm not even going into an in-depth study into this today. I'm just taking you to a few well-known scriptures. I'm going to read from verse 1 in Amos chapter 5, but my focus will come in later on as we get to around verse 16 down to verse 21, 23, 24, somewhere around there. Hear this word which I take up against you, this lamentation, O house of Yasharal. The maiden of Yasharal has fallen. Why? Because they stopped their ear from hearing the Torah of Yahuwah, not to rise again. She lies forsaken on her land, with no one to lift her up. For thus said the sovereign Yahuwah, the city that goes out by 1,000 has 100 left, and that which goes out by 100 has 10 left to the house of Yasharal. For thus said Yahuwah to the house of Yasharal, seek me and live. But do not seek Beath-al, nor enter Gilgal, nor pass over to Bahar Shabah, for Gilgal shall certainly go into exile, and Beath-al become a non-entity. Okay, so what happened when Yasharal stopped their ears? Yahuwah began to cut them off, but the cutting off began in the land. Yahuwah stopped listening to them also while they were in the land. You see, Yahuwah began to stop. You stop listening to Yahuwah, Yahuwah stops listening to you. That's how it goes. For thus said Yahuwah to the house of Yasharal, seek me and live, seek me and live. But do not seek Beath-al. No, you see, when you have gone away from the ways and the word of Yahuwah, before you can even go back to his house, first you got to look to him. Before you can worry about bringing sacrifice to the house, first you got to seek his heart. But do not seek Beath-al, nor enter Gilgal, nor pass over to Bahar Shabah, for Gilgal shall certainly go into exile, and Beath-al become a non-entity. Seek Yahuwah and live, lest he break out like fire upon the house of Yahusha, and shall consume it, with no one to quench it in Beath-al. O you who are turning right ruling to wormwood, and have cast down set apartness to the earth, he who made Kima and Kasal, and who turns the shadow of death into morning, and darkened day into night, who is calling for the waters of the sea and pours them out on the face of the earth. Yahuwah is his name, who is flashing forth destruction upon the strong, so that destruction comes upon the stronghold. They hated the one who reproves in the gate, and they despised the one who speaks the truth. Therefore, because you trample on the poor and take grain taxes from him, you have built houses of hewn stone, but you are not going to dwell in them. You have planted pleasant vineyards, but not drink wine from them. For I know your transgressions are many, and your sins are great, afflicting the righteous and accepting bribes. Yeah, accepting the tithes, right? Tithes is bribes. And turning aside the poor at the gate. Therefore the wise keep silent at that time, for it is an evil time. Seek good and not evil, so that you live. And let Yahuwah of hosts be with you, as you have spoken. Hate evil and love good, and set up right ruling in the gate. It might be that Yahuwah Elohim of hosts shows favor to the remnant of Yahusha. Therefore Yahuwah Elohim of hosts, Yahuwah, said this, there is wailing in all the open squares. Listen now. There is wailing in all the open squares. And in all the streets they say, alas, alas, and shall call the farmer to mourning, and skilled lamenters to wailing. And in all vineyards there is wailing, for I passed through your midst, says Yahuwah. Woe to you who are longing for the day of Yahuwah. Woe to you who are longing for the day of Yahuwah. Be careful what you wish for, is what Yahuwah is saying. Be careful what you pray for, is what Yahuwah is saying. Not wish for, but pray for, right? You're asking for the day of Yahuwah to come, but are you really ready? What does the day of Yahuwah mean to you? Is it darkness, and is it not darkness and not light? As when a man flees from a lion, and the bear shall meet him, or entered his house, rested his hand on the wall, and the serpent shall bite him. Is not the day of Yahuwah darkness and not light? Is it not very dark with no brightness in it? I have hated, I have despised your feast, and I am not pleased with your assemblies. You know, there are people out there today and for many years that have told you that Yahuwah always loves his feast. Yahuwah can never hate his feast, and people coming saying they're keeping his feast. That's not true. Scriptures tells us that that's not true. Because when you're not doing it according to the way that Yahuwah tells you to do it, he hates it. It says it right here. It says it right here. Did everybody see it? He says, I have hated, I have despised your feast, or festivals as they put it, your feast, and I am not pleased with your assemblies. Yes, there are times when Yahuwah does hate your feast, not his feast, our feast, you see, and our assemblies. Though you offer me burnt offerings and your grain offerings, I do not accept them, nor do I look on your fattened peace offerings. Take away from me, and this is what Yahuwah calls it, noise. The noise of your songs. You call yourself coming together, assembling and feasting and singing to me. To Yahuwah, it's just an annoying noise, for I do not hear the sound of your stringed instruments. But this is what I want from you instead of all that noise and all of that false offering and false feasting and false fasting. Let right ruling roll on like water and set apartness like a mighty stream. You brought me slaughterings and meal offerings in the wilderness for 40 years, O house of Yasharal. But you took up Sakuth, your king, and Kiyun, your idols, your astral mighty ones, which you made for yourselves. See what I'm saying? They begin to make stuff for themselves. We begin to make stuff for ourselves. We make up our own mighty ones. We make up our own set-apart times. We make up our own fasting times. We make up our own feast times. Therefore I shall send you into exile beyond Damascus. Be careful now, because you can, if you're not careful, you will even lengthen and worsen your captivity. Therefore I shall send you into exile beyond Damascus, said Yahuwah, Elohim of hosts. Elohim of hosts, his name. That is his name. All right, I'm going to go back now to the book of Zakaryahu chapter 7. Zakaryahu chapter 7. Should I fast? Should I feast? Zakaryahu chapter 7. Bear with me here. Computer acting a little slow. Okay, let's finish off chapter 7. Chapter 7. Okay. So he says in verse 6, and when you ate and when you drank, was it not for those eating and for those drinking? Are these not the words which Yahuwah proclaimed through the former prophets when Jerusalem and the cities around it were inhabited and in safety, and the south and the low country were inhabited? And the word of Yahuwah came to Zakaryahu, saying, Thus said Yahuwah Zabaoth, execute true right ruling, show kindness and compassion, everyone to his brother. That's what's most important for us right now. Show kindness, execute right ruling, truth, and compassion, everyone to his brother. Do not oppress the widow or the fatherless, the stranger or the poor, and do not plot evil in your hearts against one another. But they refused to listen, and they shrugged their shoulders and stopped their ears and from hearing. And they made their hearts like flint against the hearing of the Torah, and the words which Yahuwah of hosts had sent by his Spirit through the former prophets by his Ruach. Therefore great wrath came from Yahuwah of hosts. And it came to be, as he called, and they did not hear, so let them call, but I shall not hear, said Yahuwah Zabaoth. And I scattered them with a storm wind among all the heathen, which they had not known. And the land was laid waste behind them, no one passing through or returning, for they made the pleasant land a waste. So that's what happened. Now it's amazing that some people out there will try to use the book of Daniel, I believe Daniel chapter 9, to say that Daniel kept the feast in captivity, and that's not true. I'm not going to go there today. But that just was not true, and the text that we have read should prove that. Okay, so Yahuwah's word is clear concerning his expectations. Now, when people go and they begin to make up their own laws, their own ceremonies, their own appointed times, what they have done is they have begin writing their own Torah and begin establishing their own deliverance and not the deliverance of Yahuwah. And so today you hear people, the same people who are saying that there is no Mashiach, they're also saying that we got to keep the feast, you see, and we got to assemble here and assemble there and do this and do that, and none of it is according to the word of Yahuwah. Our responsibility, Mashpaka, is to seek his truth, to love one another, to seek justice, and not to oppress each other. And obedience simply does not mean to do, but obedience also entails not doing what Yahuwah commands us not to do. I'm going to end there for today, family, and I will open up the microphone to any comments or questions concerning our study today. But it is my prayer, it is my hope that our study from the book of Zakaryahu, chapter 7 today has been a barakah.
It all comes down to that one moment.
Dustin Johnson, the winner.
Okay. Yeah, don't know what that was, but bear with me just for a second while I sort this through. I don't know if anyone have any comments or questions. Please feel free to come to the microphone if you do, Mashpaka. Bear with me here just for a second. I'll try to.
Okay, I don't mean to dive in like this, but I'm just trying to multitask.
No problem, Aki.
Definitely cleared up a whole lot for me because I was always concerned not being able to do certain things because I'm so busy, being so busy, and wanting to get more depth about the feasting and all that, but really, just being so caught up all the time, I'm never really. And I want to say this too, okay, you are definitely you're a keeper of your brother because. The way you break things down, even though it's still up to us to do the work, you gotta still do the work, you gotta still study for ourselves. It's still good to have a brother that can break things down, help us understand that that the whole yoke isn't as hard, or it's really not hard.
Yeah.
It's when you come to understand, you start to understand certain things, and it's the confirmation that the Spirit gives you through the brethren, it's a beautiful thing the way things just line up. But I just want to say that it's a baraka to have you to break things down like that, and also, and I praise Yahuwah for that. And also, I was always wrestling with that, like so you see people keeping the feast here and doing this and doing that, and you're like, man, I need to get in, I need to get with it, and me having to definitely make time to study more and things like that. Yahuwah, the way it's almost as if he knows, that things will be hectic in this captivity. Things will be a certain way, and it lines up. I mean, it just lines up. Even though still, having to do the ground with yourself, it just makes sense. It really makes a lot of sense. And just want to give praise to Yahuwah for your kid. That was an excellent study. Praise Yahuwah.
Allahu Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah. I praise Yahuwah for you also. Aki, as iron sharpen iron, so does the countenance, the presence of a man's friend. And so I give Yahuwah praise for you, for all my Aki and my Akut. I praise Yahuwah for you all. My Aki Adi Al, please go ahead, Aki.
Shalom, have you heard?
Yes, shalom to you, Aki.
Shalom. Well, I just like to piggyback on what Aki just said. It's like with so many people around us talking about doing the feast and all this and that, it would make you feel like, okay, am I supposed to be doing it? But what I've come to understand is it all depends upon us being in the land. And since we are not in the land, there's certain things that we should not do.
Yeah.
Because it's a defilement to Yahuwah and his word. But when you try to tell people that, it's like you said in the scriptures. They close their ears and be like, oh, I'm going to do what I want to do anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I really appreciate that the word, and like Yakim said, you are Baraka Hakimaka, all because without you, who knows what I would be. I'm speaking personally because since I've come to this fellowship, I've learned so much, and I really appreciate you. And I just want to give you your flowers while you still can smell them. So just keep doing what you're doing, Aki, because there are so many people that appreciate what you are doing.
Praise Yahuwah.
I release the mic.
Praise Yahuwah, and to the Aki, to the Rabbi. Appreciate you too, Aki. And you guys are a great encouragement to me. You know, when you're somebody out here, you know, just trying to proclaim Yahuwah's word, and then you, with all the different voices out there and what's popular, I feel like I'm in a significant minority, and that is discouraging often to me. Not that I want to be popular, but you know, I try to say what I see, and I got a whole bunch of voices shouting me down, and there's all kinds of confusion. And you got people who, you know, thought that, you know, we were tight and tight in the word, and then all of a sudden they want to turn on you. You know, that can become discouraging and frustrating. So you are truly a baraka to me, and so I praise Yahuwah for you. Let me go to Aki. I think Akut Yariya was first. Let me go to Akut Yariya and then to Aki Wariya Matatyahu. Please go ahead, Akut Yariya.
Shalom to everyone. Hello, Yahuwah.
Shalom to you.
This is good. I'm on my tablet, and so I'm just thankful. I get kicked out sometimes, which is why I go on to the other YouTube. But I Aki Tuda Rabbah, or the word of Yahuwah, and I just wanted to. It makes me feel some kind of way because I want to know how the Father is looking. I know He's looking at us as a nation of people, and it's like all of those voices out there are saying so many variations of the truth, and a lot of it is not true.
Yeah.
I feel like we will never, He will never deliver us because we're all crazy and messed up and just ugly.
Yeah.
And I know there's a remnant that is really trying. And even when I look at myself, how often and how much I struggle.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, I want to know how the Father is seeing this. I mean, I know we have to be returned as a nation.
Yeah.
Is He looking at the remnant that's struggling and trying and ugly? Or is He looking at all of us as all ugly? I'm not putting that really right. I just am having a hard time expressing it. I hope you understand what I'm saying. But
I understand.
I feel like maybe I'll never see, you know, I know that we have to live individually and as upright as we can, and then we may not see the return of the Father. With the way things are looking right now, you never know. You look at it and things are going on and you say, maybe He's coming pretty soon, but I know certain things have to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But I am just, can you put that in perspective for me? And because I feel a horrible wretch, you know, that I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're not perfect, and I know we will not be, but I just need a little encouragement. I think that's what I'm looking for.
Well, Akudo, if you hear my wife in the back, she said you're not alone, and I'm going to echo that too. You're not alone. You know, so I really share your sentiments. I feel the same way. I do. Now, in regards to how Yahuwah sees us and how He looks at us, we have to look at that question from a couple different perspectives, right? Number one, we have, and as you mentioned, as you pointed out, there is a remnant, right? And Yahuwah does have His elect. So simply because there's a whole lot of people out there and a whole lot of noise and a whole lot of voices and a whole lot of preaching and a whole lot of this and a whole lot of that, it does not mean that everybody speaking actually belongs to Yahuwah. And so Yahuwah's focus is really on His remnant. With that said, even with His remnant, the remnant don't have it all together, right? So it's still a work in process. At the same time, just as we see in the scriptures, while Yahuwah takes a look at the big picture, he looks at the entire nation. From time to time, you'll notice that he speaks personally to individuals, right? There are times when there's somebody who is in the midst of, okay, take the book of what is the name of it again? Habakkuk. Take the prophet Habakkuk, for example, right? Habakkuk was a prophet in Yasharal at a time when the nation of Yasharal was mostly doing wrong. They were doing terrible. You see, as a matter of fact, let me just go and read the first chapter of Habakkuk to remind us of how terrible the nation was doing while Yahuwah was speaking to this individual. So give me a moment. Let me just take a moment to read that, just to remind us of that, and to hopefully give a perspective of how Yahuwah looks at us even right now, right? So let me get that. Let me pull that up on the screen. Give me just a moment while I get it, and it is my hope that this will help to encourage us, because we all need it. And I'm glad that you asked the question and said the things that you shared, what you shared here just now. But let's go to the book of Habakkuk, chapter 1 very quickly, and then I'll jump over to chapter 3. Let's go there very quickly. All right, so look at the condition of the nation here. The message which the prophet Habakkuk saw. O Yahuwah, till when shall I cry, and you not hear? I cry to you, violence, and you do not save. Why do you show me wickedness, and cause me to see perversity? For ruin and violence are before me, and there is strife and contention, and strife and contention arises. Therefore the Torah ceases, and right ruling never goes forth. For the wrong hem in the righteous, so that right ruling comes out twisted. Look among the nations and see, and be amazed. Be amazed, for a work is being wrought in your days, which you would not believe if it were told. See, I am raising up the Chaldeans, a bitter and hasty nation, who is going. Now, this is Yahuwah responding to him. Okay, so he tell him to look among the nations. Okay, as a matter of fact, I don't even think that this translation as nations is actually correct. I think it's, you look among the Goyim, the dispersed ones. The scattered ones here is what he's talking about. Look among the scattered ones and see. Okay? Because the nation sometimes refer to the 10 tribes of Yasharal. And this is what? Look among the 10 tribes and see. And be amazed. Be amazed. For a work is being wrought in your days which you would not believe if it were told. This is what Yahuwah now is responding to Habakkuk. See, I am raising up the Chaldeans, a bitter and hasty nation, who is going through the breadth of the earth to possess dwelling places that are not theirs. Okay? They are frightening and fearsome. Their right ruling and their exaltation proceed from themselves. Their horses shall be swifter than leopards and more fierce than evening wolves. And their horsemen shall charge ahead, and their horsemen come from afar. They fly as the eagle rushing to eat. All of them come for violence. The direction of their faces is like the east wind, and they gather captives like sand. And they scoff at kings, and princes are a laughing matter to them. They laugh at every stronghold, for they pile up earth and seize it. Then shall he pass on as a wind, and transgress, and be guilty, and ascribe his power to his mighty one. There's a few things happening here. I'll talk about it some more in a little bit. Are you not from everlasting, O Yahuwah my Elohim? Set apart one. You do not die. O Yahuwah, you have appointed them for right ruling. O Rock, you have established them for reproof. You whose eyes are too clean to see evil, you are not able to look on wrong. Why do you look on those who act treacherously? Keep silent when the wrong devours one more righteous than he. And would you make men like fish of the sea, like creeping creatures that have no ruler over them? The wicked foe has pulled all of them up with a hook, caught them in his net, and gathers them in his dragnet. Therefore he rejoices and exalts. Therefore he offers his net and burns incense to his dragnet, for by them is his portion fat, and his food is rich. Is he therefore to keep on emptying his net and slaying nations without sparing? Okay, a whole lot's going on here. So number one, Habakkuk cried out to Yahuwah, and I'm sorry, I just got to read on a little bit more. Habakkuk cried out to Yahuwah because of the wickedness of Yasharal, right? And Habakkuk is saying, now you are set apart, you are righteous. How is it that it seemed like you turn a blind eye to the wickedness of your people? You have all kinds of people saying all kinds of stuff. Same thing we're talking about, right? He says there are all kinds of voices, all kinds of preachers, all kinds of preaching, all kinds of teaching. There's all kinds of stuff going on. There's all kinds of wrongdoing. Your Torah have ceased to rule your people. And how can you just sit by and look at this? And so Habakkuk, Yahuwah said to Habakkuk, no, hold on, Habakkuk. Number one, pay attention that even though the nation is acting wickedly, Yahuwah takes the time to speak to an individual in whom he finds pleasure, right? And so even though Yahuwah may be angry at the nation, and even though it might seem as if there is no end to the wickedness and the confusion and the corruption and all of this, Yahuwah is still speaking, Yahuwah is still doing. But Habakkuk, out of his frustration, does not see Yahuwah working. Seem like it's just pure confusion. It seemed like people of Yasharal are just getting more wicked. And so Yahuwah said to Habakkuk, no, hold up, look around you. Pay attention to what's happening in their midst. Look at that storm cloud that's forming over them. You see, I've got these people called the Chaldeans. This king is ruthless. He's brutal. Now, I'm going to use him to chastise them. Oh, and he is coming. Now he's going to mess up and he's going to think that it's his strength and his mighty one that has given him victory over my people. And that's where he messes up, because now I'm going to chastise him for his wickedness. I'm going to use the wicked to chastise my people, but don't worry about the wicked chastising my people, because the day is going to come when I'm going to chastise the wicked who chastise my people. At the same time, I'm talking to you. So I'm not just focused on the entire nation and their wickedness, but I do see that there are some people, you might not be perfect, but you know what? I know that you desire what's right. And I love you. And I admire what you're doing. I admire the fact that you continue to try to take a stand in the midst of the most difficult circumstances. Most unpopular circumstances. I admire that, Habakkuk. And so let me talk to you and let me share with you what it is that I am doing. Is there evil in the city? And the man of Yahuwah, the prophet of Yahuwah, not know it? He reveals his work to his prophets, he says, right? So he says, I stand at my watch and station myself on the watchtower and wait to see what he says to me. Yahuwah says, watch. So he stands at his watch and he waits to see what he says to me and what to answer when I am reproved. So while I'm waiting for the rest of his response to me, this is Habakkuk speaking, I'm also...
Microsoft spyware alert. Pornographic spyware, riskware detected. Error number 0x80072EE7. Your computer has alerted us that it is infected with a pornographic spyware or riskware. This spyware is sending your financial details, credit card details, Facebook logins and personal details to an unknown IP address remotely. Please call us immediately on the toll-free number listed, so that our support engineers can walk you through the removal process over the phone. If you close this page before calling us,
Bear with
we
me
will
here,
be
family.
forced to disable your computer to prevent further damage to our network and will send a copy of this report to the concerned authorities to raise a complaint against your IP address. Microsoft Spyware Alert. Pornographic spyware, risk square detected, error number 0 by 80072EE7. Your computer has alerted us that it is infected with a pornographic spyware or risk square. This spyware is sending your financial details, credit card details, Facebook logins and personal details to an unknown IP address remotely. Please call us immediately on the toll-free number listed so that our support engineers can walk you through the removal process over the phone.
That might be a scam
If you
itself. I'm
close
just
this
trying to get
page
this.
before calling us,
I'm
we
just
will be
trying to
forced
get
to
this
disable your
resolved.
computer to prevent further damage to our network and will send a copy of this report to the concerned authorities to raise.
Okay, enough of that. I'll close you. All right. Okay. Interestingly, that was through me, from me being on the website Bible Hub. That's where that came from. But I closed it. That in itself is a scam. But I'm running a scan on my computer right now, so let me just all right, let me, okay. All right, I'm just running a quick scan here, but okay, hopefully you can hear me, family. All right, I was rudely interrupted there. Let's see. All right, bear with me here. Let me get back on track. All right. Okay, praise Yahuwah. Now, get back to where I was, Mashpaka. Hallelujah. All right, so Yahuwah speaks to Habakkuk. Let me try to get back here. Yahuwah speaks to Habakkuk. And so now Habakkuk continue to wait for some more from Yahuwah. While he's waiting, he's also thinking of, okay, he's thinking ahead about how he's going to respond. But that's a problem for us too, right? That hinders communication when you're so busy thinking about your response even before there is a even before somebody says something, you're busy thinking about the response, right? Habakkuk kind of fell into that trap. He's steady thinking about how to respond to Yahuwah when Yahuwah haven't even said the next word yet. And when you do that, it hinders your hearing. You see, a lot of times we find ourselves in situations, and even before Yahuwah can speak, and let me just say this, that Yahuwah speaking is not just in terms of something audible, because you might go for a long time without ever hearing anything audible from Yahuwah, but it doesn't mean that Yahuwah does not speak, right? Yahuwah speaks in many ways. Yahuwah speaks through many things, and in many ways he speaks. You see, he speaks by guiding us, right? By putting mountains in our way, or laying out a path for us, preparing a table before us in the wilderness. Whatever it is, he speaks. So if you limit Yahuwah speaking to only hearing something audible, you might be waiting for a long time, and you might even miss the message, right? But nonetheless, there are times when Yahuwah speaks, or we're waiting for him to speak, but while we're waiting for him to speak, we're so busy thinking up a response that it hinders us getting the message, and it hinders communication, right? And that's what Habakkuk was doing. So while he's waiting for Yahuwah to speak some more, he's also busy thinking up a response. Oh, I could tell you why that don't make sense. I could tell you, okay, so you said this about them, but you missed this about them. Yahuwah, you just don't see how wicked your people are. You don't see it. I mean, yes, I know you said that they did this, and that, but how about this, that, and the other? right? As if Yahuwah don't know. But he knows. Yeah, you see. He knows. And simply because he don't acknowledge to you that he sees everything, don't mean that he don't see everything. Right? But he knows and he sees. You see. He knows and he sees. All right, let me just close this for now. Okay? So Habakkuk is thinking of a response. All right, let me go on. And Yahuwah answered me and said, write the vision and inscribe it on tablets so that he who reads it runs. For the vision is yet for an appointed time. And here it is, Akut. Because sometimes we don't see an end. We don't see an end to what it is that we're seeing. We don't see how it is that as a people we're going to come together on the same page. We don't see how it's possible that we'll ever get together and become right before Yahuwah. It just looks impossible right now. But Yahuwah says, listen, okay, I'm going to give you the vision. What is the vision? The day of our deliverance will come. The day of our unification will come. That's the vision. What I want you to do is write it. Okay? Write it on tablets. Write it down. Make it clear so that those who read it will run with it. Make it clear so they get it. Okay? Because this thing is certain. Because even though they're going to run with it, they don't know how the outcome's going to be. But this is certain. The vision is yet for an appointed time. So it will look impossible right now. But when the appointed time comes, it will be what he says it will be. You see? And we can take comfort in that. It might look chaotic right now. So in the chaos, what we have to constantly remind ourselves is that the vision is for an appointed time. The vision is for an appointed time. So when we see the nonsense, when we see the confusion, when we see the chaos, remind ourselves the vision is for an appointed time. Because unless we remind ourselves of that fact, we too can become disheartened. And we too can become one of those running down the road acting crazy. You know, like them people that smoke that stuff or whatever to do and get high and strip their clothes and run down the road naked. You know, we can become that naked man or that naked woman running down the road naked without Yahuwah. We lose Yahuwah. You see, because we forget that the vision is for an appointed time. Right? So our job is to write the vision and make it clear. Inscribe it. Carve it out. You see. So that who reads it can run with it. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, and it speaks of the end. It speaks of the end. It don't speak of the now. It speaks of the end. The vision speaks of the end. But we're looking at the now. Okay? The vision tells you what it will be in the end. We're not at the end. The problem sometimes is that people are trying to make the end. The problem is sometimes people are trying to make the middle the end. So people are trying to make the beginning the end and the middle the end. And you know why they do that? Because we don't want to go through the process. We don't want to go through the process. So what we try to do is the moment we get into the oven, we try to say, okay, I've gotten to the end. Now turn off the heat. You see? We don't want to go through the process. So we're making the beginning the end, or we're making the middle the end. But the vision is for the end. What I mean by that, in plain speech, you got a lot of people who prematurely talking about or have spoken about it being the end. This is the end. Did Yahuwah tell you this is the end? The fact of the matter is, we're so ignorant concerning these things that we don't know the end from the beginning. Only Yahuwah knows. And we have to be careful not to run around declaring what's the end. Because when we declare what's the end and then we don't see the vision coming to fruition, then now we become disheartened and more confused and begin to even spread more confusion. And that's what's happening, because some people have determined it to be the end, and when it ain't working out, when they don't see the end working out to what it's supposed to look like, they begin to become frustrated, and now they spread more confusion, and that's a part of the problem.
Hope deferred makes the heart sick.
Hope deferred make the heart sick. It don't just make the heart sick, it make the head sick. You see. So it says, for the vision is for an appointed time, and it speaks of the end and does not lie. If it lingers, wait for it, for it shall certainly come. It shall not delay, but at the appointed time it will come. See, he whose being is not upright in him is puffed up, but the set apart one lives by his steadfastness. And also, because wine betrays him, a man is proud, and he does not stay at home, because he enlarges his appetite as the grave, and he is like death, and is not satisfied, and gathers to himself all nations, and heaps up for himself all peoples. Now I'm going to jump ahead to chapter 3 here real quickly. Okay. And I'm going to just jump to the latter part of chapter 3. Let me just jump down to the end of chapter 3. As encouragement to us as we wait on Yahuwah. Okay. This is Habakkuk's prayer to Yahuwah. I'm going to read the last part of his prayer. And then I'm going to read how Yahuwah allow him to encourage himself. In verse 16. I heard, and my body trembled. My lips quivered at the sound. Rottenness came into my bones, and I trembled within myself, that I might rest for the day of distress to come upon the people who would attack us. Okay, so he heard the word of Yahuwah, the promise concerning what was to happen because of their disobedience. After he heard that, he said he quivered, his body trembled, my lips quivered at the sound. Rottenness came into my bone, and I trembled within myself, that I might rest for the day of distress to come upon the people who would attack us. He's looking forward to when the people who would attack, distress would come upon them, where they would be repaid. Then he encourages himself in verse 17, and he says, though the fig tree does not blossom. Right now the fig tree ain't blossoming, Akut. It seemed like it anyway, right? Seemed like it's more confusion piled upon confusion. You know, it's more people becoming divided more than they're coming together. Though the fig tree does not blossom, and there is no fruit on the vine, the yield of the olive has failed, and the fields brought forth no food. The flock has been cut off from the fold, and there is no herd in the stalls. Yet I exult in Yahuwah. I rejoice in the Elohim of my deliverance. Yahuwah the sovereign is my strength, and he makes my feet like those of the deer, and make me walk on my high places. And he says to the chief singer, with my stringed instruments. All right. And so even though it might seem as if the fig tree ain't blossoming, even as if it might seem as if there is no hope, even though it might seem as if there is no end to this, remember, number one, exalt in Yahuwah, rejoice in him, knowing that he is our deliverance, and also knowing that he gives us the endurance. He make our feet like the feet of a deer, and make me walk on high places. Hallelujah. And so in the end, ultimately, what Yahuwah will do is he'll allow us to climb our mountains. Even that mountain that he put in front of us out of his good pleasure. He gives us the strength. He gives us the stamina. He gives us the durability. He gives us the tenacity. He gives us whatever and all that we need to climb that mountain and to overcome it. Because every mountain in our lives was placed there in order for it to be overcome and to make us stronger. And so I could hope that I don't know, in some way encourage and answer the question. And you know, that's what comes to mind when I look at the situation. And so Yes.
To that, Aki, yes, I think, I think sometimes, and this is just me personally speaking, yeah, I feel like there's, mountain ranges. So I just think that sometimes we look at, for me, I'm looking at what's going on around me and what I'm trying to overcome, and not really seeing the fruit that I should.
Yeah.
And there is something that causes me to cry out to the
Yes.
Father,
Yes.
and even to give Him praise, even though I don't fully understand it, But thank you for this. I'm going to go back over it and continue to seek the Father
Yeah.
and keep on keeping on, as they say.
Praise Yahuwah. And sometimes keep on keeping on is easier said than done.
That's true. That is so true. But I appreciate the moment you give.
Praise Yahuwah. Praise Yahuwah. Yeah, go ahead.
It's like raising kids, and you don't really, while you're in the midst of raising them, son, you don't see the fruit of all of the sacrifice or the labor that, you put into it. As a matter of fact, those that you help don't even appreciate it. Stop. But I'm mainly focusing on the fruit of it. While in the midst of it, sometimes you can feel like, what's the sense?
Yeah.
I don't see this. I don't even see the word working the way it said it don't work. You start actually questioning the scriptures. I know for myself, I did. Or at times when I feel like I need to speak to somebody, I wound up answering all my own questions. But it just seems like, where you at? Or just at least, if it's a tap on the hands, do something. At least I know you're there. So I definitely understand.
Indeed. I'm going to go to Aki Warrior because he had been waiting for a while. Let me go to Aki Warrior and then to Habakkuk. Nothing is impossible. Aki?
No, shalom, Mishpachah, shalom, Aki.
Shalom to you, Aki.
Hey, everything's good. Good lesson plan. I'm past. I released the mic.
Okay. Shalom to you, Aki. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, let me go to Nothing is Impossible, 7:7. Akut, I'm going to unmute your mic for you.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, shalom to you.
Shalom to everyone on the broadcast. I am so, I'm learning now. I have to let you guys know. I'm a newbie with all the enlightenment. Not a newbie with the word of Yahusha, not a newbie with the word of Yahuwah, but a newbie with the enlightenment and the spiritual cataract surgery that has been done with regards to, understanding the deeper truths of the name, and so forth. I've been serving the Most High for 29 years.
Okay.
And I've been serving him in, through ebbs and flows, ups and downs, ins and outs, the vicissitudes of life, and so many other things, but always having had a heart for the Most High ever since I can remember, even as a child, and always wanting to know. And it was about 3.5 years ago that Ruach HaKodesh came to me and in my heart and said, brought to me 2 Chronicles 7:14 and said, if my people who are called by my name, would humble themselves and seek my face, then shall I hear from heaven. And I realized that my prayer life was I have all the love, all the feelings, but just the consistency and life getting in the way, so many things, Mashbaka, so many things that won't be able to be said in just my first time speaking to you guys. But anyway, I lost my husband tragically. I live in Brooklyn, New York, and just so many things.
Wow.
Raising my children and so many things.
Yeah.
Anyhow, 3.5 years ago, I decided that I'm going to find time to pray every single day without fail, and I'm not going to let anything get in the way of it. Now, of course, when you make a commitment like that, there's going to be, the enemy is going to come and, he's going to say, oh, yeah, no,
Yeah.
But bottom line is, I did pray. If I can't say every day, but almost every single day, and I tell you, Mashbakar, this is when all the truths started to be, deeper truths started to be coming, revealed to me. And I'm saying this for that sister who just asked that poignant question. The scripture that has kept me for 29 years is Philippians 1, verse 6, that he, our Elohim, is more than able. He started this work and he will complete it. We are not, it is he. All we have to do is be obedient, like you said, in that beautiful teaching of, listening, be obedient, just, follow his mandates, listen to what he's saying. He will complete the work. If we look at it in our own selves, we'll be discouraged.
Yeah.
We will not feel as though it can be done, because it cannot be done in our own strength. It is in his strength. So, just like in the days of the children of Israel taking, when the giants were, when they were looking off at the giants, then, and take your eyes off the giants, look at me. Those that keep their mind on Elohim will be kept in perfect peace. You can't, you have to stay focused on him. You have to be like tunnel vision. I know it's hard with all the things going on, but for myself, I don't watch television. I don't watch television. I decided that years ago, and I tell you, even that alone has helped me, because we all have different things that we have to be. We're his children, and like you have children, sister. Your beautiful wife mentioned raising children. Each child has a different area that needs to be dealt with more than the other. So, mine was get away from that television. Get away from that one-eyed monster, because it was messing me up. Okay. So I just said all of this to say, be encouraged, because he said, cast your cares upon him, for he cares for us. And our burdens are so heavy, and his is so light. And that's an exchange that, when I really understood that exchange, I said, you know what? Here, take it all. Take it all. Here, take this. Oh, wait, take this too. Oh, wait, let me go under the bed. Take this. Oh, wait, let me go downstairs in the car. Take this. I give him everything. I said, take my burdens, and I will take yours. For your yoke is easy, and your burden is light, Yahusha. So I'm so blessed. Even finding you, this broadcast, it's all about being obedient and just trusting that if you just keep your mind on him, your heart on him, your eyes on him, he will guide you into all truth. And I'm about to make a video soon. I'm just praying on how, because I've been talking about, the name Jesus Christ for so long on my channel, but if anybody that ever watched my channel sees, I say, I don't want to be called a Christian. It's little things was tugging my heart. I was like, it's embarrassing to be called a Christian. I would make videos like that. Like, Christianity is, it's almost, it's Christians are, they're just insipid, they're weak, no backbone, you know, and little things that he would tell me. So I don't want to keep on talking, but I just wanted to say thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I stay on this channel and I listen and I go back into all your videos. I'm like binging on your videos, binge watching your videos right now. And I just bless your heart, bless your wife, bless your family. Thank you for the work that you're doing, and just thank you so much. You would never understand. I don't think you will until you see him face to face, that your sacrifice and your obedience is opening the eyes of many. Many are called, but few are chosen. And I just want to say one more thing, because I know I've been talking a lot.
We enjoy hearing you, Akut. Shalom.
Oh, praise be to the Most High. You know, one thing that the Most High put in my heart this week, and I want to share it with the Mashpachah. And I was just doing something, and the Most High said to me, how many people, Jackie, my name is Jackie, how many people made it to the promised land, Jackie? How many? No, how many people did Moses, and I don't know all the Hebrew names yet.
That's fine. Yeah, that's fine.
Say, how many people did Moses lead out of Egypt into the promise, you know? And of course, you know, I went and looked it up.
Yeah.
603,550. That's not including women and children. Okay? 603,550. And then the Most High said, how many people made it into the promised land, Jackie? And then I went and looked that up. I knew it was only Joshua and Caleb.
Yeah.
That's not including only Joshua and Caleb and no one over 19 years of age. So none of the parents of any of those, all those people
that left out of Mitzrayim.
This is not to get you discouraged again, my sister who asked that question. It's not to get you discouraged. But only 2 people made it into the promised land filled with milk and honey. Joshua and Caleb, and all those kids, no one over 19. So that means that we have an example. We have an example. Don't do what they did. Complain and all this stuff. Don't do what they did. Because I want to make it to that promised land. And that's all I have to say, my Bashbaka. I am so blessed to have found this wonderful channel. And I will just say, please keep, you know, giving us some of your time. I know it takes away from your family, my brother. But I am so, and it's a coup, right? No, it's a keep. I don't know how to say it. But you guys have to teach me though. Brother is
Aki, yeah.
Okay. So my Aki, because I'm gonna be doing. I'm gonna get. Don't worry, you're gonna say and a few years. All right, nothing's impossible. That's you talking about that. Watch. But
it's all right.
Just keep, and also, I'm gonna tell you something. I come from Yard. I'm gonna tell you that from the last time. So you already know.
Yeah.
So that coming is like a double blessing for me. But anyway, so I thank you. I thank you for giving me time to speak. I love all of you, and may we just, as one body, just keep our eyes on Yahuwah, and just know that if we just keep, no matter what it looks like, just keep our eyes on Him, we'll be all right. We'll be fine.
Praise Yahuwah. Hallelujah. Toda Rabbah for sharing, Akut. And you've got to give us your channel. What you mentioned the channel. What is your channel?
Oh, it's Nothing's Impossible 77.
Okay. I see. Okay. All right. Great. Okay, I will make sure that I subscribe.
Oh, praise be. Oh, it's about to be hot on that channel. So it's about to be, a lot of people are about to get some headaches. So I would suggest I use Zeus so you can give me support because I'm gonna need it. Okay.
Shalom.
All right. Shalom. Shalom, Mashbaka.
All right. Let me go to Aki Warrior. Please go ahead, Aki.
Shalom, Mr. Baka. Yeah, I just want to reflect on
I'm sorry, Aki. I'm trying to. Okay, go ahead.
that. Everything good now?
Yes, you're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to reflect on what Akuth, Nothing Impossible said about about us. We don't reflect. We ain't reflecting because most, mainly, we don't know who we are. We're letting the enemy dictate to us about who we are, what we should learn, what we shouldn't learn, and we just kind of like, dumbfounded and just accept what's handed out to us, and we're not reaching out on our own to find out, and like Yahuwah said, my people perish for lack of knowledge, lack of understanding, and all you're getting, get understanding. And collectively as a nation of people, we just ain't doing it. And just like, I guess the fact is, right, there is a remnant. It was a remnant that was saved when Noah put 8 people in the ark. And it was a remnant, that's right, that went into the land, crossed over the Jordan and went into the land of Canaan. There's going to be a remnant of us that's going to be delivered when he returns, Yahuwah as Yahusha. So the thing I was, thinking about, how we, the deliverance, okay, so the first deliverance came up as a group of people, as a nation of people, a group of us came out of Mitzrayim. Then we went up and did 70 years in Baba. So the thing, but not all of us came, a remnant, and there again, a remnant again. You had some of us who stayed in Baba, and then some of us who, and most of us stayed in Baba, and then a remnant came up out of there. So the thing I'm looking at, reflecting on, is that once we come up out of here, United States of America, this Mitzrayim is that, let me see if I can phrase this right. So, all right, so when Yahuwah, let's take this for example. All right, coming out of Mitzrayim the first time. Now, everybody that came up out of there, and I'm go ahead and talk about what you was talking about. The first deliverance was a spiritual deliverance with the blood on the doorpost. And the second was the physical deliverance. So in order for us in modern day to come up out of here and be set apart, the spiritual deliverance has to be what?
It has to be through Mashiach.
Mashiach, Yahusha. Yeah, that's what I was telling. That's what I was saying, explaining that to my mother. And so I was telling her, so, I hold on. Excuse me. So this modern day is Yahusha as the spiritual deliverance. And it is from that point when he gave up himself on the stake, on the tree, to where we are now. nothing's changed at that, considering that aspect of it. The only thing we waiting on now is the physical.
Yeah. Indeed.
Right. So, all right. So we clear on that, Mr. Kaha?
Hallelujah.
Yahuwah.
Yes, indeed.
Praise Yahuwah. I release the mic.
Praise Yahuwah. Yahuwah. Well, indeed. Toda Rabbah for sharing a key, and again for revisiting that and making it plain, because that is indeed so. Well, as we prepare to go, I'm going to leave you, family, today with a song, Better Days. Better days are coming. Might not look like it, but it is. So, okay, Akut Yisraela is asking for prayer for a great grandson. Yes, indeed, Akut will be praying for him. May Yahuwah truly barak him as he grows and mature. May the favor of Yahuwah truly be upon him, and may he direct his path, direct his way. Hallelujah. I'm gonna play the song. We're gonna come back, close out in prayer, and so I'll see you right after this song. Okay, I'm just gonna play the song "Better Days" as we prepare to close.
The devil them flirt, the innocent them always try to hurt. Them need to stop them military advancing and start the hungry belly feeding. The truth they should be seeking. Praises to the Most High they should be given.
Suffer over.
that mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see the Most High. They will see the Most High. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of Yah, the Most High. Better days. Better days soon, Sure. Yeah, man. Better days. For the suffer over. I see the days of Noah. No man know the hour. Better days soon,
Hallelujah. Once again, I want to say Shalom, Mashbaka. And with that, I'm going to say, truly, may Yahuwah barak you and keep you. May Yahuwah lift up his face upon you and show favor unto you. May Yahuwah cause his face to shine upon you and give you shalom. May the name, the set apart name of Yahuwah be upon you. Allahu Yahuwah. Love you all, family. Appreciate you greatly. And Yahuwah willing, we'll be seeing you not this coming weekend, but the following. And so may Yahuwah truly keep you and barak you through this week. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Shalom, Mashbaka. Love you all, family. And shalom to you all. Leila Tub and Shabua Tub also.